Tonight, we will move slowly through the daily life of an ordinary Roman citizen around the year 100 AD, during what historians now call the height of the Roman Empire. There will be no emperors issuing decrees, no generals returning from distant campaigns, no dramatic speeches echoing through marble halls. Instead, we will remain close to the ground, close to the stone streets and narrow staircases, observing the quiet repetition of ordinary existence. This is not a story of power, but of routine, not of glory, but of endurance. As we move through this day, allow the pace to soften. Imagine the sounds lowering in volume, the sunlight growing gentler, and the small details becoming more significant than any grand event could ever be. Around the year 100 AD, Rome was not merely a city. It was a vast organism of stone, brick, dust, and human movement. More than 1 million people likely lived within its boundaries, spread across the famous 7 hills and the valleys between them. From above, if one could look down from a high vantage point, the city would appear dense and layered. Temple roofs rose above crowded insulae. Thin columns of smoke drifted upward from cooking fires. Narrow streets twisted unpredictably between taller buildings, creating pockets of shade and sudden openings into small public squares. Most citizens did not live in spacious homes filled with light and gardens. Instead, they lived inside insulae, multi-story apartment buildings constructed primarily from brick and Roman concrete. These structures leaned close together, sometimes so close that a person standing at one window could almost touch the opposite wall. The lower floors were sturdier, built with thicker materials and easier access to water. The upper floors were smaller, warmer in summer, colder in winter, and more vulnerable to fire. Wooden beams creaked quietly as residents moved about their mornings. Staircases, worn smooth by years of footsteps, carried the faint smell of dust and old smoke. Our ordinary citizen lives several floors above the street. His room is modest. The ceiling is low enough that taller men might need to lower their heads slightly. The walls are plain, perhaps once painted in muted earth tones, now faded and chipped. There is no glass in the window, only wooden shutters that can be opened to allow air and light to enter. At night, these shutters block the wind, but small drafts still slip through unseen cracks. He wakes not to an alarm, not to a bell, but to light. Dawn arrives gradually. At first, the room shifts from black to charcoal gray. Then, thin strands of sunlight slip between the shutters, stretching across the floor in narrow golden lines. Dust particles float in that beam of light, drifting slowly, almost lazily, suspended in the still air. The city itself is not yet loud, but it is no longer silent. Somewhere below, a cartwheel rolls over stone. A distant voice calls out briefly, then fades. His bed is simple, a wooden frame with woven straps pulled tight across it. On top rests a thin mattress stuffed with straw, perhaps mixed with wool for added softness. It does not sink deeply beneath his weight. It supports rather than embraces. The blanket is woolen, slightly coarse against the skin, carrying the faint scent of last night's oil lamp. When he shifts, the bed makes a quiet wooden sound, not sharp, but familiar. He sits up slowly. The air is cool at this hour. He can feel the stone floor through the soles of his feet As he lowers them from the bed, for a moment, he remains still, allowing his thoughts to gather. There is no rush. The rhythm of his life follows the sun, and the sun has only just begun its ascent. He dresses in a simple woolen tunic, knee-length and belted at the waist. The fabric is practical, durable, slightly rough, but dependable. It has been washed many times, perhaps at a public foolery where workers used water, alkaline substances, and even fermented urine for its ammonia properties. The tunic smells clean, though not perfumed. He fastens leather sandals around his feet, wrapping the straps securely around his ankles. The leather is worn but sturdy, molded by months or years of walking the same stone roads. Before leaving, he may eat a small breakfast, ientaculum. It is not elaborate. A piece of bread, dense and firm, perhaps dipped lightly into watered wine to soften it. Maybe a few olives, their saltiness lingering on the tongue. Sometimes a bit of cheese, if it was affordable that week. He eats without ceremony, standing or sitting on a simple stool. The meal is functional. It is not meant to delight, but to sustain. Water must be collected. He takes a clay container and descends the narrow staircase. Each step produces a muted echo. The stairwell carries layered smells: cooked grain, old wood, damp stone. When he reaches the street, Rome is more awake now. The morning light strikes the upper walls first, leaving the lower street in partial shade. He walks toward a nearby public fountain, fed by one of the great aqueducts that stretch across the countryside beyond the city. Water flows continuously, clear and cool, spilling into a stone basin worn smooth by countless hands and vessels. He waits his turn. Others stand nearby, holding their own containers. There is no loud conversation, only brief exchanges, a nod, a quiet greeting, a remark about the weather or the previous day's market prices. The water is heavier than it appears once the container is filled. He adjusts his grip and begins the walk back, careful not to spill too much. As the morning advances, the city gains momentum. Shopkeepers open wooden shutters that double as counters. The sound of wood scraping against wood blends with the murmur of voices. Bakers remove fresh loaves from ovens, and the warm scent of bread spreads into the street. Somewhere nearby, garum, the fermented fish sauce so common in Roman cooking, releases its sharp, salty aroma. It is strong, but familiar. It belongs to this place. Artisans begin their work in full view of passers-by. A blacksmith's hammer strikes iron in slow, rhythmic intervals. Sparks leap briefly before fading. A cobbler bends over worn sandals, pulling thread through leather with practiced precision. A potter's wheel turns steadily, shaped by hands that know exactly how much pressure to apply. Work here is visible, physical, repetitive. There are no hidden offices, no silent machines. Everything happens within sight and sound of the street. The ordinary citizen joins this flow of labor. Perhaps he works as a craftsman, shaping wood or repairing tools. Perhaps he carries goods from one district to another, navigating through narrow lanes and broader roads, paved with large stone slabs, polished smooth by centuries of use. The stones are uneven in places. Rainwater collects in shallow depressions. Cart ruts form faint grooves that guide wheels almost automatically along familiar paths. Time passes not by clock, but by light. As the sun climbs higher, shadows shorten. The warmth increases, especially in the enclosed streets where air moves slowly. Sweat forms quietly beneath the wool of his tunic. Work continues. Movements repeat. Lift, carry, measure, shape, exchange coin. Bronze coins change hands, their surfaces worn by countless transactions. A balance scale tips gently as goods are weighed. Grain poured carefully from sack to container. There is no dramatic turning point in this day, no sudden interruption, only continuity. When afternoon begins to soften the intensity of the light, thoughts gradually turn toward rest. If he chooses, he may visit the public baths. The thermas stand as large communal spaces of stone and echoing chambers. Entry is affordable. Inside, the air grows warmer as he moves from the tepidarium into the caldarium. Steam rises slowly, clinging to skin. Oil is applied and then scraped away with a strigil, removing dust and sweat gathered throughout the day. Conversations unfold in low, unhurried tones. Topics drift from small business concerns to family matters, never urgent, rarely heated. Eventually, he returns home. The sun begins its descent. Shadows stretch longer across the stone streets, softening edges and dulling sharp contrasts. Vendors pack away goods not sold. Doors close. Footsteps become less frequent. Dinner, cena, is simple. Grains, lentils, perhaps vegetables cooked slowly. Occasionally, a small portion of fish. He eats seated, not reclining as the wealthy might. The room is lit by a small oil lamp whose flame flickers gently with any movement of air. The scent of olive oil burning is subtle but persistent. Night settles. Gradually, the city does not vanish into silence, but its energy diminishes. Distant voices become rare. A late cart passes once, then not again. When the oil lamp is extinguished, darkness fills the room completely. Without artificial light to compete with it, the night feels deeper, more complete. He lies again on the same bed from which he rose. The woven straps support him evenly. Outside, Rome continues breathing quietly. There is no sense that this day was historic, no awareness that centuries later it will be studied. For him, it was simply another day, structured by light, sustained by labor, softened by routine. And tomorrow will unfold much the same way. Some days unfold almost exactly as described, predictable and steady. But not every morning in Rome feels identical. There are subtle variations, small shifts in atmosphere that gently reshape the rhythm without disturbing its foundation. On certain days, the air is heavier, warmer even at dawn, carrying the promise of intense heat by midday. In the height of summer, the stone walls of the insula absorb warmth from the previous day and release it slowly through the night, making sleep lighter and more fragmented. When he wakes on such a morning, the room already feels close, the air less crisp than usual. The sunlight that slips through the shutters is brighter, sharper, illuminating every imperfection in the plaster walls. On these hotter days, movement slows earlier. Work still begins at dawn, but there is an unspoken understanding that by midday, the streets will shimmer slightly in the heat. As he steps outside, the smells of the city are stronger, garum more pungent, animals more noticeable, dust rising more easily beneath passing sandals. Vendors sometimes stretch cloth overhead to create shade, thin fabric fluttering gently in whatever breeze can find its way between the buildings. The Tiber River moves steadily beyond the denser districts, its surface reflecting the hard light of the sun. Other days bring rain. Rome is not constantly dry and golden. Storms roll in during certain seasons, darkening the sky in a way that transforms the entire city. On a rainy morning, he wakes to a different sound entirely. The steady tapping of water against wooden shutters, the soft but persistent trickle running along stone gutters outside. The light is dimmer, diffused through thick clouds. The room feels cooler, and the air smells faintly of damp earth and wet stone. Walking through the streets in rain requires careful footing. The large paving stones become slick, reflecting blurred shapes of buildings and passers-by. Cloaks are drawn tighter around shoulders. Vendors adjust their stalls, pulling goods further inside to protect them from moisture. The usual smells of bread and fish sauce are softened by the scent of rain itself, which settles dust and quiets the air. Conversations are shorter on these days, voices lowered, as if the rain absorbs sound before it can travel too far. There are also days marked by the calendar, though the ordinary citizen does not measure time with printed pages or mechanical precision. Religious festivals bring subtle but noticeable changes. On certain mornings, he might hear distant preparations before even leaving his building. Temple attendants arranging offerings, priests moving deliberately through ritual spaces. The sound of sandals against stone multiplies as more people gather in central areas. Garlands of greenery appear on doorways. Incense burns more frequently, its sweet, resinous scent drifting through the air in thin ribbons. He does not experience these festivals as spectacles of grandeur, but as part of the city's breathing pattern. Perhaps he pauses briefly near a temple, observing a small crowd gathered for sacrifice. The animal stands quietly, unaware of symbolism. The priest speaks words that have been repeated countless times before. Smoke rises slowly into the sky. There is no frenzy, no dramatic outburst, just ritual, performed with steady hands, witnessed with calm attention. Market days, too, feel slightly fuller. Though commerce happens daily, there are certain days when traders from surrounding regions enter, the city more heavily laden. Carts creak under the weight of produce, amphorae, woven baskets. The streets feel narrower as space compresses under the presence of goods and bodies. The ordinary citizen moves carefully through this density, adjusting his pace, occasionally stepping aside to allow animals or heavily loaded carts to pass. The hum of voices grows thicker, layered, yet still controlled. As seasons shift, so does texture. In winter, the mornings are slower and colder. Breath becomes faintly visible in the early light. Wool cloaks are wrapped more tightly around shoulders. Fingers stiffen slightly before work begins. Oil lamps burn longer in the mornings and are lit earlier in the evenings. The insula retains less warmth, and the stone floor feels colder beneath bare feet at dawn. Meals grow slightly heavier when possible. More lentils, thicker stews, warmth sought in simple food. Yet even in these seasonal changes, the structure of life remains intact. Wake with the light. Dress in practical clothing. Eat modestly, work steadily, return home, light the lamp, extinguish the flame, sleep. Years pass this way, not marked by dramatic milestones, but by accumulation. Sandals are replaced when worn thin. A tunic is patched repeatedly before finally discarded. Familiar vendors age gradually. Children grow taller. Buildings are repaired, sometimes reinforced after minor structural cracks appear. Fires occasionally break out in distant districts, smoke visible on the horizon. But for most days, stability prevails. What defines his life is not intensity, but repetition. The empire may expand at its borders, legions may march across distant provinces, but within the walls of Rome, daily existence depends on small, continuous acts. Carrying water, exchanging coin, shaping material, preparing food, conserving oil for the lamp. And when night returns, whether after a hot summer day, a rain-soaked afternoon, or the distant echo of a festival, the same darkness settles gently into the room. The same woven bed supports his weight. The same ceiling hovers just above. Outside, Rome exhales slowly, its vast population gradually surrendering to rest. There is comfort in this predictability, not excitement, but assurance. The knowledge that tomorrow will resemble today, that the sun will return, that the fountain will flow, that work will await, that evening will soften the sharp edges of effort. The greatness of Rome, unseen by him in any grand sense, rests quietly upon millions of these ordinary cycles, upon hands that lift and carry, upon feet that walk the same stones each morning, upon small rooms filled with lamplight and then darkness. And so the day closes again, not with triumph or tragedy, but with quiet continuation. Beneath the vast Roman sky, life proceeds gently, steadily, almost imperceptibly, one ordinary citizen at a time.